Super awkward Funcast. You're listening to the Super Awkward Funcast. Yeah. So I've decided not to do the intro songs anymore because it's just asking to be restricted by YouTube. So this time I'm just gonna show an image that upset the internet for some reason of Sabrina Carpenter's upcoming album. And I guess I'll sing some of her song real quick, and hopefully I won't have any copyright problems, and Belarus will be unmolested in terms of seeing my content. Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember how it goes. Man child, why you always come a-running to me? Fuck my life. Won't you let an innocent woman be? Never heard of self-care. Half your brain isn't there. Man child, why you always come a-running, taking all your loving from me? I tried. Okay, I like my boys playing hard to get, and I like my men all incompetent, and I swear they choose me, I'm not choosing them. Amen. 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 Pigs. Yeah, okay, so that happened. It's a fun, I think it's a fun song. I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. And also, you know what? Stop taking shit seriously, is what I would say to the haters of these sort of songs, which are, by the way, okay, let's, I like to be upfront about everything. There's 3 people, I think, involved in writing this song, if I recall. Hold on. Man, child. There aren't a lot of songs called that. So we got Sabrina Carpenter herself, Amy Allen, and Jack Antonoff. And they were even upset about this image. Remember, oh my gosh, she's in Daisy Dukes. Ew. It's such a weird thing to get upset about. I kind of get the whole, 333. I wonder if that's significant. I kind of get the whole, Illuminati, her in a church thing. I didn't really see the church thing that she got, in trouble for. I'm starting out with something light, because we're getting to USrael. We're getting to the fucking title of this episode soon. But I just wanted to start out with some talking about Man's Best Friend. And that's her 7th album, by the way. She's had a bunch of albums. And this one's upsetting people. And now they have an alternate cover because it upset so many people. But it's just on the vinyl and cassette. Who the fuck makes cassettes? We're making cassettes still? That's kind of cool. Okay, if she's making cassettes, she can't be that bad. I'm sorry. I don't think she's Illuminati. It's because she makes cassettes, and that's awesome. I don't have a cassette player, but I appreciate it. I get it. Anyway, yeah, she's been around a while. She is with Island Records, which is owned by UMG. And UMG has a special relationship, as we know, with Taylor Swift. And she's compared, or she worked with Taylor Swift. She's friends with Taylor Swift as far as I can remember. And she's had sort of a rise after the mega success of Taylor Swift. A good thing I think about her, the one thing that I like about her specifically, is that she... Oh, by the way, I watched her when she was on Girl Meets World. I did watch that show. I tried to give it a go. Not remake, but the sequel to a series, Boy Meets World, from the 90s, which I grew up watching. I did enjoy her character the most. And Farkle, that's his name, Farkle. I don't know why I remember his name. Maya and Farkle were my favorite. I think I shipped them together at one point. I can't remember. But anyway, which is weird because they're children. So it was a little weird for me. And I was a little too old to be watching that shit. But anyway, I digress. So she had uh, a real banger of a 2024 was short and sweet. And she made a lot of hit songs with a lot of help from her friends. And it's just kind of depressing to see that there's still this rule by committee kind of thing. Like, she won a Grammy for Espresso. Wait, did she? Hold on. I have to make sure of that. She got a nomination for Espresso and won Best Pop Solo Performance. I believe that would be for the Espresso, right? Hold up. Wow, that hasn't been a category for very long. Yeah, she won it for Espresso, which is one of her least interesting songs and most easy to play, I'm sure, and has quite a lot of songwriters if you look at it. Or not a lot. I mean, it's 4. 4 is better than 6, but like still, I just wish we could go back to the days where we could have anyone, just write their own thing, do their own thing, produce their own thing. It would just be nice. And independently, of course. But she's not independent. And it's unfortunate that it seems like she's going a certain direction. But anyway, that's the lightest part of the episode. I guess we could tie this in with the Lively v. Wayfarer update, because it's going to be pretty short. Not short and sweet, just like the last album from Sabrina Carpenter. So she was in a movie Clouds, which was directed by, I'll just go to Wikipedia. We're just going to hang out on Wikipedia for a minute. Which was directed by Justin Baldoni, who is in that lawsuit that I mentioned, Lively v. Wayfarer. And that's a Wayfarer movie, of course. And so the scuttlebutt with Lively v. Wayfarer right now is that the scuttlebutt. Who says scuttlebutt? I do. I'm old, I guess. All right, cool. So anyway, she has never said anything bad about him, has not come out against him or anything like that. And they were good friends back then. Very friendly on set and stuff. And she said she enjoyed working with him quite a bit. What's the update about Lively v. Wayfarer is that, if we look at the docket here, it got awkward because the whole Justin Baldoni's whole case was almost entirely dismissed. It was dismissed by the judge, who is also, oddly enough, tied to Ryan Reynolds in various ways. You can look that up at your leisure. I'm not going to get into it. But has stocks in companies that are connected to Maximum Effort, which is Ryan Reynolds' little production outfit thing. But anyway, basically, what happened was there was all this commotion and everything, all these motions and stuff, and we didn't think that he was going to rule. I mean, I didn't think that he was going to rule anytime soon on the motions to dismiss, but he decided to defy everybody's expectations. And he did. He denied the Wayfarer party's claims to be with prejudice. He dismissed with prejudice the whole counter claim, and that means there were two allegations left over that were to do with contracts with Blake Lively. He got rid of all the Ryan Reynolds stuff, which is interesting. Sexual predator stuff, all of the defamation from him. And Leslie Sloan, which is partly because of James Fituska from the Daily Mail, who came out and filed an affidavit under duress, allegedly, to support Leslie Jones and say, Leslie Jones, I'm getting her mixed up with Stephanie Jones because they're basically the same. Leslie Sloan who was alleged by him to have said sexual assault instead of sexual harassment in their conversations about Justin Baldoni. Whereas she said, no, I didn't say that. And he said, you know what? I made a mistake. It was me who said it. She didn't say it. I said she said it. I was wrong. And after that happened, then all of a sudden, a few days later, he gets a new attorney. He gets rid of his old attorney. I might have that on the docket here. And then he has new attorneys. Would that be in here? Should be. Yeah. Motion to withdraw his attorney. Supplement substitution for the substitution of counsel. Click on that. Garagos and Garagos. Tina Glandian of Garagos and Garagos. And Garagos is in the news in other cases as well, because Garagos is... Mark Garagos is very involved in the Sean Combs trial, which we'll get to later. And is it his daughter? I think his daughter, Tinny Garagos, is the attorney on the defense side. Anyway, that was interesting. That was done, let's see exactly when that was done, actually. I'm not going to find this. I don't know why I'm bothering. I don't know where his affidavit is. Anyway, so this was all happening. The update is the dismissal happened. The amended complaint was due. What day was that? I don't remember what day. 26th, I think. If I recall correctly. I think it was the 26th. Yes, I think. I'm pretty sure. And then by Judge Lyman, he said... Yeah, he said that he could amend the allegations regarding the breach of contract and all of that. And then they didn't do that because I think they were opening themselves up to an appeal, because if they went further, they couldn't appeal the decision. So that's what they're doing, I believe. And then another news, this is the Jones v. Abel docket, which is part of this because Stephanie Jones, as we went over, is what started this whole thing up. And then on the 24th, we got to see a letter motion to compel non-party Van Zandt Incorporated to produce documents addressed to Judge Louis J. Lyman from Elle Garofalo, who just joined the defense team on that docket for Wayfair parties being Abel, etc. I guess Abel would be the only party here, right? Parties. Yeah, Jennifer Abel. Yeah. And then Jones Works is the other party. Okay. So in this one, we also have other parties, but those are the main parties, to keep it simple. Okay. So there was some back and forth about this motion. We haven't had a ruling yet. I think we'll get that hopefully this week, and hopefully the judge will rule to get the Van Zandt subpoena. God damn it. We've been waiting forever for it, and it's time to have it. So that's what's happening there. We finally have attorneys on the behalf of Van Zandt. We know for a fact that Blake Lively has sent a subpoena, a copy of the subpoena from Jones to Wayfair, Jennifer Abel. And Jennifer Abel is like, nah, we want the rest. We want the one from the source, the original source, Van Zandt, which, if you recall, is the one that did the Doe lawsuit against Wayfair parties without having them know about it, and then ended up getting all of the text messages from Jennifer Abel's phone so that they could do the article in the New York Times say about burying, that we can bury anyone from Jennifer Abel's team tag PR and towards Blake Lively, and coming up with the idea that they retaliated against her with a smear campaign, which, by the way, the judge does believe exists. So that's fun. He said that in his 132-page ruling of the dismissal, which was crazy. Crazy talk. So many conclusions he came to in that, and it was like really involved and very obvious that he was told to do this by someone or had a reason to do it that wasn't quite appropriate. I'm trying to remember when the hell it was dismissed. Oh, they'll tell me in a second though. Oh my gosh. There's so much going on in the docket. Redacted document. Jed Wallace. Yeah, Jed Wallace is still in this too. From the street relations firm. There's like 20 people involved now. It's crazy. Here we go. Stipulation of partial dismissal with prejudice is hereby stipulated and agreed by and between the undersigned attorneys for the parties to the above captioned actions that pursuant to whatever the fuck a plaintiff Blake Lively hereby withdraws and dismisses the 10th cause of action. Oh wait, that was her. She dismissed her emotional distress. I forgot about that. Yeah, the IIED, etc. That's right. And then like right after that is when we got the dismissal entirely here. Where the fuck is it? I don't know why I can't find it. Letter motion. Motion to compel. I can't remember when that was. Anyway, it's all done now. It's happened. Then there's a motion for attorney fees from Leslie Sloan, Vision PR, which is not good. Oh, I have the affidavit here, I think. No, I think that's Kristen Bender. Never mind. No. Anywho, yeah, anyway, whatever. So that's what's happening there. Mullis has his own thing in Texas that I'm checking in on. Every once in a while, there's a motion to dismiss in play, filed by Lively. She did like a reply to him. It's just going back and forth there. So yeah, that's what's happening over there. Let's see what we missed with Bilderberg. By the way, I just wanted to say to start, I really appreciate you watching this, if you are. And I really do. And I'm gonna cry right now, but like, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who supported this show since the very beginning. It's changed a lot. I know. I want to promote it, but I'm too depressed to show how few people watch it, how few views it has. It had a lot more views back when I started it on Podbean. I got it off Podbean recently because it's not that I couldn't afford it, it's just it didn't make sense for me to pay for it every year for how little how little downloads I was getting. So I eventually just transferred it to YouTube exclusively, where it started, actually, with me in my room with a spider who sat beside her. But yeah, it was just like, it's been a journey. And I even stopped doing it for a minute. I thought I was done with the show. And I want to put something else on the screen. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to put. I guess we'll just fuck it. We'll do it live. Where's my YouTube. Oh, by the way, turn your watch history off. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, if you have your watch history on, like, what are you doing? Honestly, what are you doing with your life? But, yeah, here we go. Oh, I accidentally went to my artwork. My bad. Okay. Which I made many, many years ago, and that's an actual photo that I took for the Latham's YouTube channel of the sun setting on the beach. Probably Santa Monica, my favorite place to go. Anyway, yeah, if you're here, if you haven't subscribed, which a lot of people haven't, I'm sure, please do. Please do. If you don't want to, don't. But I really wish you would. And I really wish you would watch the rest of the episodes. I've made a lot of them. I make a lot of content. I'm doing the Funcast, the Funcast archive. I work really hard on this. Like, I'm not just saying that. I really do work hard on this. And a lot of people work hard on the shows. And they don't get enough love. And it's sad to see. And it's sad to be one of those people as well. But I just need a little push. I need a little motivation. Because it's getting really sad. Because, dude, 5 months ago, 37 views. That's not good. I'm not impressed with that. Something's wrong, you know? And I work hard on it. And I develop these stupid ass thumbnails. No AI, all me. Just getting shit from the internet, putting putting so much. Whatever. You know what? I would like to have my work appreciated. And if you appreciate it, thank you for appreciating it. If you could like the fucking video and help me with the stupid ass algorithm that I hate so fucking much and hates me even more, I would really appreciate it. This is going to be a pretty shorter episode because we have the two main topics. Israel, Iran, and US. Okay, those are 3 topics, but they're all together. And then Sean Combs is coming up later. I'm trying my best, and it's hard to not feel like, oh, you're not good enough, you know, and nobody appreciates you. Like, I don't want to be that person who's like, oh, nobody appreciates me. Ugh. I'm not appreciated. They're taking me for granted. No, I don't want to be that person. But, like, it does feel sometimes like I'm just staring at a wall in a room. Like I am right now. Talking to myself. So, if you could just make me not feel that way, that would be nice. If you could share this on your stupid fucking shitty social media platforms, TikTok even, I'll take. I don't give a shit. Instagram, Threads, who gives a shit? Minds, if you're still using that. The other one, Facebook, which is the same thing as Instagram. Just do me a favor, do me a solid, and spread the word about the show. And, okay, now we're going to get back to the show and what we're talking about. And not so fourth wall. Anyway. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to discuss was let's see. So you might have missed it, but we're going to go over it a little bit. Bilderberg 2025 happened. And it was amazing. Everyone had a great time. Said no one. They had the list here, which is in the thumbnail. Shout out to the Daily Telegraph in New Zealand, which is what I used their image. I used their image in my thumbnail, so shout out to them. I'm giving credit where it's due. I don't know if they're legitimate. We're going to find out in a second. I'm not going to read a bunch of articles. That's another thing I'm not going to do as much. I'm going to leave it up to you to read the articles. I feel like I've been relying on articles and reading them too much lately as well. And also I want to give more feedback of how I feel about certain things, and also funny shit, and do some fucking comedy, which is what this show is supposed to be. It's labeled a comedy, so let's be funny. How do we be funny about World War III? We'll find a way. Don't worry. Hey, it's probably not even real. It's all AI what's happening, so don't worry about it. Anyway, Bilderberg 2025 sparks alarm over depopulation agenda and global AI surveillance push, which is not surprising seeing that there's a connection between Palantir and this regime. But that is neither here nor there, apparently. So anyway, these topics of discussion for this year were transatlantic relationship, Ukraine, still doing that one, U.S. economy, Europe, Middle East, authoritarian axis, hey, defense, innovation, and resilience, AI, deterrence, and national security, proliferation, sound familiar? Geopolitics of energy and critical minerals, for the AI, depopulation and migration. Just say it right out, out loud. Swedish researcher Jacob Nordengard warned that the meeting could be a precursor to global conflict. Well, boy, was he correct. Because if you don't know, now you know, Bilderberg happened right before shit went down with Israel and Iran. So just keep that in mind. And also, whilst there was a lot of unrest in California or downtown LA, because it wasn't here, where there were a lot of protests and angry riots and stuff about the ICE situation. Anyway, it says they need a big crisis in order to install this new updated version of the United Nations. Critics say the group, historically dismissed by legacy media as a conspiracy theory, is now openly shaping a dystopian agenda. Now? They've been doing that, babe. Aligned with UN's Agenda 2030 under the guise of crisis management, with no media access, no public accountability, and participants sworn to secrecy. Concerns are growing that Bilderberg is advancing a new era of surveillance, engineered migration, and centralized global power. They've been doing that, babe. But anyway, then there are people there. So there's this gentleman who did a lot of in-depth reporting on participants this year. Shout out to Giorgio Bombasse and lovely and wonderful Dan Dix doing his due diligence. And my mother will appreciate that part of this podcast that she won't listen to or watch. But she hates those words, due diligence, for some reason. She didn't explain why yesterday. She just told me that, and I was like, okay, cool. But anyway, day 2, there was a protest, so that was cool. But day 1, he has some scoop on. He's got interviews on here. I just want to shout out Dan Dix from Press for Truth. He is on YouTube still, but he also has his own website and everything, so you can go there. And he needs a lot of money to go to these places because they ain't cheap to cover things on the ground. But here's where he went to this protest that he was invited to. So here's his little speech at the protest. And shout out to Wikipedia, who's still getting in the way of these videos with all these stupid fucking blurbs. All right, here we go.
At least a couple hundred people. Kudos to the Swedes. I mean, nicely done. The fact that there's this many people here who are aware of who this group is and is willing to come out says a lot. Well done, Sweden. All right, guys, so we got this massive Bilderberg march on their way to the Bilderberg Hotel. Again, we're looking at around a couple hundred people who got a permit to do this. So, surprisingly, probably maybe more like 300 or 400 people, which again, pretty impressive that they can get this many people to come out to a Bilderberg conference. Love to see it. Right, I heard a police officer say that there's about apparently at least 500 people here at this particular protest. Yeah, the crowd was huge. There's at least 500 people. And it's great to see, you know, because it was like a decade ago when we started getting large crowds coming out to Bilderberg protests, like in 2012. And that's why I called my documentary film on the Bilderberg group The Turning Point, because it felt like it was a changing, a time when, you know, Bilderberg was being exposed like none other before. And, you know, hundreds of people were coming out, hundreds of journalists, and all of a sudden that kind of changed. That slowed down. It got to the point where there was only, you know, 3 or 4 of us showing up over the last, like, decade. But here in Sweden, this whole movement seems to be growing again.
Speech before you have to leave. I'll keep following them when they leave for the Bilderberg meeting tonight.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, Sweden. Can I get a hello to everybody in international Canadians? Fantastic. This is so awesome. It's amazing to see this many people coming out here in Sweden. This is exactly what we need more of. This is exactly the kind of thing that these guys fear the most. You know, it was the first time I covered Bilderberg was in 2006. This is 19 years ago now. And back then, there was maybe 10 protesters, maybe 5 journalists. And look how far we've come over the last 19 years. You know, in 2012 and 2013, we had a lot of people show up. But that sort of fizzled out over time, and people stopped coming. But look how many people are here in now. It seems that Sweden is reviving the movement, so give you guys a big hand of applause. This is fantastic. You know, the reason why these guys fear this is because their entire system is set up in a pyramidal structure of control. And they see themselves as being at the top. But what they don't understand is that we are the ones who make up the base of this pyramid of power. And when we can get enough people to represent, let's say, one little brick in the bottom corner of the pyramid, well, what happens when you remove one brick from the bottom corner of the pyramid? The entire system comes crashing down, and that's exactly what we need to do. We need to be that bottom brick in the pyramid and let this whole system come crashing down. So that's what inspires me to be here. This is what I hope you guys are going to do. And I would ask that when you leave here today, let's continue this very same energy that we have right now in exposing the global elite. When you go home, let's not let it end. Let's let this continue. And maybe I'll see you next year at the next Bilderberg, and we can continue to grow this movement even bigger than it is today. Am I right? Because when we do, and we get enough people to represent that bottom brick in the pyramid, we're going to step outside of their system of control. No more biometric ID, no more using their banks, no more voting for them in. When we do that, the entire system is going to crash, and mighty will be its fall. So I hope you guys will join me. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to check out more, you can visit pressfortruth.ca if you want to check out more of my work. But I'm going to get back now to exposing the Bilderberg group, so you guys keep up the fantastic work. Thank you.
I thought it was a really good speech, and he said it was improv, so that's pretty cool. Then they went on a boat trip to their little hangout where they went over what they were going to fuck up in our world. A lot of them were the same people as usual. Alex Karp, Peter Thiel, Eric Schmidt, you know, all the basic people, basic bitches who are always invited. But anyway, there's that going on, and then there is the WEF. So the WEF has a new thing coming up, if you're wondering. The annual meeting of the new champions. And that's going to be in PRC, Tianjin, PRC. Oh, that wasn't. Okay, it already happened. We just missed it. But that's a new thing I haven't seen before. So I wanted to focus on that for a second. And entrepreneurship for a new era. Through action-oriented dialogues, the meeting aims to accelerate progress on shared imperatives and other participants the opportunity to explore and offer participants the opportunity to explore how entrepreneurship and emerging technologies can unlock more dynamic and resilient economies. Additionally, it will provide valuable insights into emerging markets and their role in driving global economic growth. And these are the fuckers in that whole thing. All about China in there. Speaking of China, there is an article here about Bilderberg from the lovely and wonderful Charlie Skelton, who is sometimes on the ground, but he always works for the Guardian and covers Bilderberg. So it's always good to see his takes on things. So this is from June 15th, 2025. It's been a minute. Again, we do this every month until I die, apparently. Also, just want to say, what else did I want to say? I literally was just thinking I should say something and I forgot what I was going to say. Fuck. Is it important? Maybe it's not important. I don't remember what I was going to say. Anyway, corporate, political, and tech bigwigs meeting in Sweden are worried about an authoritarian axis. Maybe AI drones will fix things. Deep within the glittering bowels of Stockholm's fanciest hotel, grave ruminations on the future of the world are taking place. A heady throng of... Oh, I was going to say, yeah, now I remember. My bad. That this won't be edited, so you're listening to this live. You're not listening to this when I record it, but pretty much a little bit after, so enjoy. Well, although probably not, because who knows when the fuck you're listening to it, or hearing it, or watching it, whatever we're doing. And now there's a plane, the plane, and we gotta have the plane because we cannot edit this, because we do not have time, because we had to do this in the middle of the night, so we could post it on time. Because jury deliberation was today in the Combs trial, and I wanted to get some information for you about it. Anyway, a heady throng of tech billionaires, ministers, corporate titans, and the King of the Netherlands have convened in Sweden for the 71st Bilderberg meeting, the publicity-shy annual policy conference that has long sustained conspiracy theorists. Well, sure. Hosted this year by the fabulously wealthy Wallenberg family. The 4 days of transatlantic talks are taking place at the swanky Grand Hotel, which is owned, like so much else in Sweden, by the Wallenbergs. The Swedish PM, Ulf Kristersson, I don't know why I said it wrong, turned up for a welcome dinner on Thursday evening and would have been about halfway through his second plate of meatballs when the first of Israel's rockets dropped on Tehran. Oh, right, we're getting into that. Thanks. Yeah, it happened right during the conference. What better time for the prospects of World War III to go up a gear than in the middle of the Bilderberg conflab? Is it conflab or confab? I feel like it's confab, but okay. With nuclear proliferation slated for discussion. I know, I noticed that too. And the heads of NATO and MI6, what the fuck is wrong with me? MI6, Mission Impossible 6? What is that? Anyway, I'm not going to look it up. And two of America's most senior military officers in the room. They're joined in Stockholm by the CEOs of several major defense suppliers such as Palantir, Thales, I don't know, and Anduril. Even the quietly spoken host of the conference, Marcus Wallenberg, happens to run an arms company. What a coinkydink. He's chair of Sweden's largest defense contractor, Saab. The Tehran attacks slot happily into the conference agenda, which includes the topics Middle East. I pointed this out too, probably around the same time as he did. That is interesting. On Twitter I said that Middle East was on the agenda. How surprising that something bad would happen during the conference, which is what I totally expected to happen. Anyway, and the rise of an authoritarian axis, what Bilderberg insider Nadia Shadlow, a former deputy U.S. National Security Advisor, describes as the growing collusion among revisionist powers. According to Shadlow, an authoritarian axis is rapidly coalescing around China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea, disrupting the belief that an international community has taken shape in the aftermath of the Cold War. Earlier this year, the Economist magazine, not edited, whose editor, hey, that's funny, sits alongside Shadlow on Bilderberg's steering committee, struck a similar note declaring the rupture of the post-1945 order is gaining pace. But The Economist handed Donald Trump a fair chunk of the blame for junking the transatlantic alliance. What this means for Bilderberg is that 7 decades of hard work nurturing the post-war international order are in danger of going up in literal smoke. Trump's Vice President J.D. Vance has taken every opportunity to lever the U.S. and Europe apart. Europe being more independent is good for the United States, Back last summer before the election, he said the United States has to focus more on East Asia. That is going to be the future of U.S. foreign policy for the next 40 years, and Europe has to wake up to that fact. The presence in Stockholm of Samuel Paparo, the head of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, is a sign that Bilderberg has taken this to heart. Also, there's another member of the authoritarian axis which looms far larger than Iran over this conference, China. Though the name China doesn't actually appear on this year's agenda, the heightening struggle between America and China is a specter which haunts at least half of the topics being discussed, from the geopolitics of energy and critical minerals to defense, innovation, and resilience. Just a couple of months ago, Eric Schmidt, the former Google boss and a longtime Bilderberg board member, warned that China is at parity or pulling ahead of the United States in a variety of technologies, notably at the AI frontier. He suspects that it will be only a matter of 3 to 5 years before some form of superintelligent AI is achieved. Yay! The geopolitical stakes, not states, especially in the race with China, are enormous, he says, because attaining superintelligent AI would mean total and unassailable military domination. In short, it would give the winner the keys to control the entire world. But here's the problem. Due to the immense power requirements of large-scale AI, beating China to the superintelligent punch would require potentially 100 times more energy than is currently available. The head of the International Energy Agency, Fatih Birol, who is conferencing this year at Bilderberg, recently posted on X that global electricity demand from data centers powering AI is set to soar in the next decade. This is for the people who want to bang on and on about climate change and how bad certain things are in the world, but they don't do anything to fix it. In this desperate winner-takes-all race for the keys to the world, in which the geopolitics of energy becomes ever more important, power stations, along with the data centers they feed, are going to become the #1 military targets. Cue the AI drones for the time being before AI invents completely new and unimagined ways for us to all kill each other. Drones are perhaps the biggest practical application of AI in warfare. There's a healthy swarm of drone manufacturers at this year's Stockholm summit, sharing their hopes and fears about defense innovation. They got more information here. You can look at, I'm not going to say all of what is happening here. Mistral, I've seen that fucking company though. That's interesting. There's more about the AI drones of it all and everything going on with the White House and their connection to Peter Thiel and everything, and Palantir, all of this stuff for you to read at your leisure. I'm not going to read everything because I'm not going to bore you. And we'll just sum it up here. In other words, look at our success and join us. Of course, the only thing wrong with this self-fulfilling meritocratic version of Western civilization is that if the Chinese succeeded in beating the West to the keys of the world, it will mean that they were the good guys after all. I don't know if I'd go that far, but yeah. So there's that information there. And then I have on this topic, this article is going to be in the show notes along with this one. Everything's going to be in the show notes, so check there for more information. Do we want to go to Israel? I think we want to go to Israel right now. Let's go to Israel. Okay, so it's important when we look at the aftermath of what was done just a little while ago in the strikes against Tehran, and then the ensuing battle with Israel and Iran, and then how the U.S. got involved, as they obviously would. It's important to also note, and it's funny that it's come up in recent days, that Netanyahu has a corruption trial going on. And let me find this video real quick. Here we go. And the president of the United States just found out about it. I've known about it since 2020. But he just found out, and he wanted to tell the world about what was going on there. So that's funny and kind of weird. This was after he had said that Iran and Israel, because they denied the ceasefire, they didn't go through with the ceasefire, mainly because Israel decided to start breaking it immediately after it was announced. Within 6 hours, I believe. He said that they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Maybe I'll show that later if I get around to it, but I can't show everything that I want to show, because this is going to be an hour and a half tops. So we got to wrap it up after this discussion. So let's hear what the president said about the trial, which he calls a witch hunt. It's just hilarious. Also, keep in mind that I have been talking about this for years, and also on Twitter at Elle Latham. In 2020, it was put on hold, or it was 2021, who knows which one, where Israel, or Bibi, was like, you know what, we can't do the trial right now because COVID. You know, we just can't do it. We got to put a delay on it. And so they did that for however long they did. And I was like, when's his corruption trial? Because it was just ongoing. And I just found out, and I'll tell you later when it's going to be till, because it's crazy. But yeah, here's the witch hunt situation described by the president, which is nuts. His posts I want to read as well. Well, let me start with his post because it's insane. I'm going to read his post that he put up stupidly. Let me go to Donald Trump. There you are. I'm going to have to go several days ago. Hey, alright. Oh, we're in May. He doesn't tweet that much here. Okay. Was it June 2nd? No. Oh yeah, there was a whole terrorist attack that I missed. It wasn't a terrorist attack. A shooting, whatever. Oh my gosh. So bad. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Fake news CNN. Failing New York Times. Okay. I guess he's POTUS for this. Let's see if it was POTUS that put it up there. I don't know. This is a fun little... The daddy's home tweet. Oh, what the fuck was that? There's so many tweets. Sheesh. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, nuclear sites. It would have been after that. Maybe this is... Oh, you know what it is? It says Truth Social. That's where it was. My bad. I just looked it up last night and read it to my mommy. I call her mommy sometimes. I'm weird. Okay. Do. I will get to it. This was crazy. Sometimes you just can't believe what you read. It's so crazy. I know it was 1 a.m., so let's go to 1 a.m. It was before the One Big Beautiful Bill situation, which I'm not even going to be able to talk about in depth. Damn it. He tweets a lot. What day was this? 2 days ago? I think it was 2 days ago. Ugh. I should try to do his voice for this. That'd be funny. Allegedly. Nope. Where the fuck is this post? Why didn't I send it to myself when I knew I had a show? Well, I didn't know I was gonna do it. Read it. When the fuck was this? Damn it. He's so angry with, CNN. You know what? I might have to look it up. Damn it. If I look up Donald Trump witch hunt, will that give it to me? I wonder. Yeah, I can't find it. Let me do Donald Trump witch hunt. BB. Just give me whatever you think that I mean. Here it is. I had to go to Laura Loomer's account. Bless my heart. Okay. Bless her heart. I don't know. This chick is crazy. Anyway. Shout out to your dumbass. Anyway, Donald Trump said, breaking news. Not breaking, by the way, because I've known about it for years, but okay. I was shocked to hear that the state of Israel, I'm sure you were, which has just had one of its greatest moments in history and is strongly led by Bibi Netanyahu, citation needed, is continuing its ridiculous witch hunt against their great wartime prime minister. Where is the great wartime prime minister in the room with us? Bibi and I just went through hell together, fighting a very tough and brilliant longtime enemy of Israel, Iran, and Bibi could not have been better, sharper, or stronger in his love for the incredible Holy Land. His dick just fell out of your mouth, sir. And anybody else would have suffered losses, embarrassment, and chaos. Bibi Netanyahu was a warrior, even though he didn't set foot out of his house, other than to flee, like perhaps no other warrior in the history of Israel, and the result was something that nobody thought was possible. A complete elimination of potentially one of the biggest and most powerful nuclear weapons anywhere in the world. And it was going to happen soon. We were fighting literally for the survival of Israel. Yeah, we know. And there is nobody in Israel's history that fought harder and more competently than Bibi Netanyahu. Yeah, we know. He loves to fight those little babies. Always having them blown up all the time. And sometimes his own soldiers, which is pretty interesting. Despite all of this, I just learned that Bibi has been summoned to court on Monday, for the first time ever apparently, for the continuation of this long running. He has been going through this horror show since May of 2020. Told you. Unheard of. This is the first time a sitting Israeli prime minister has ever been on trial. There must be a good reason for that. Can't think of one. Politically motivated case concerning cigars, a Bugs Bunny doll, and numerous other unfair charges, in quotations, in order to do him great harm. Such a witch hunt for a man who has given so much is unthinkable to me. He deserves much better than this, and so does the state of Israel. Bibi Netanyahu's trial should be canceled immediately. He's going to say that again here. Oh, or a pardon given to a great hero, is he in the room with us, who has done so much for the state. Not good things. Perhaps there is no one that I know who could have worked in better harmony with the President of the United States, me, than Bibi Netanyahu. How many times can I say Bibi Netanyahu in one run-on paragraph? It was the United States of America that saved Israel. And now it is going to be the United States of America that saves Bibi Netanyahu. No thank you. This travesty of justice cannot be allowed. This was on the 25th of June. This was a few days ago. And then he goes ahead and says more. And by the way, learn to write your own fucking name. Reuters, damn, get your shit together. Are they relying on AI to create these titles or something? What the fuck is going on there? Anyway, I'm available if you need anyone. Beheri.
US President Donald Trump has lashed out at prosecutors in Israel over the corruption trial of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Saturday's post was Trump's second in a few days, defending Netanyahu and calling for the cancellation of the trial. This time he went a step further to tie Israel's legal action to US aid, saying Washington, having given billions of dollars worth of aid to Israel, was not going to stand for this. On Sunday, the Jerusalem District Court cancelled Netanyahu's hearings this week, accepting a request the Israeli leader made, citing
Get your shit together, YouTube. What the fuck?
Citing classified diplomatic and security grounds. It was unclear whether Trump's post influenced the court's decision, but he also suggested the trial could interfere with Netanyahu's ability to join negotiations with the Palestinian militant group Hamas and Iran to end the war in Gaza. A ceasefire couldn't come too soon for these residents of Khan Yunis, as they mourned 5 people killed in an Israeli airstrike on a tent encampment, medics said. On Sunday, Trump called again for an end to the war. Make the deal in Gaza, get the hostages back, he posted on his Truth Social platform.
I think it's closer.
He has said in the past few days that he believed a ceasefire was close. Netanyahu was indicted in 2019 in Israel on charges of bribery, fraud and breach of trust, all of which he denies. He was due to take the stand for cross-examination on Monday.
Oh, what happened there? We'll find out in a minute, don't worry. Let's go back to Netanyahu. Okay, I was going to show this video. I'm not going to show it to you, but this is a lot of information.
This is
About court and everything. That's alright, I'm not going to play anything. Take your time, YouTube. Okay. So this has a lot of information in it, and this it's from NewsX World. I don't even know what that is, but it has a lot of stuff that you might want to see. So I will put in the show notes so you can watch it at your leisure, because I'm nice like that. And then we will look at this one. So here's a little more about the corruption case that you might not know about. Just a coincidence, but it turns out that the strikes on Tehran happened just a couple of days after, or a few days after he started giving his testimony in the cross-examination in the trial. Just so happens that, you know, something bad happened right after he started talking. Which I guess includes a Bugs Bunny doll. I'm not really clear on the evidence there. Okay, YouTube is being a dick. We understand. But yeah, that's the gist on that. Okay, you're gonna keep... Okay, thank you. I'm gonna talk on top of it because we don't really need that stupid music. The case against Netanyahu rested heavily on one aide, Hadass Klein. I'll read it for you. Experts said, whoever they are, her claims were never properly investigated. Are the experts in the room with us? Legal scholars called the case politically motivated and poorly handled, and they're not paid off by the government at all. Wow, that was so great. Hard-hitting news. In other news, just so President Trump, because he's totally watching my show, he loves it. If you're watching, sit down, sir, because if you have reader mode, you can get around this paywall. But basically, the failing New York Times told us before that the Israelis have propped up Hamas and the government. Your best friend, Bibi, kind of, you know, propped them up. If you don't want to believe the failing New York Times, President Trump, you can go to Times of Israel, which is a good go-to for me for Israeli news. For years, Netanyahu propped up Hamas. Now it's blown up in our faces from an actual, I believe, Israeli person So, yeah, they're not happy about it. Also, you might want to look into the Hannibal Directive, President Trump. That could give you some insight as well. Yeah, I like the end of this. It says the difference between Islamic Jihad and Hamas doesn't matter much at this point. As far as the state of Israel is concerned, the territory is under the control of Hamas and is responsible for all the training and activities there. Hamas became stronger and used the auspices of peace that Israelis so longed for as cover for its training, and hundreds of Israelis have paid with their lives for this massive omission. The terror inflicted on the civilian population in Israel is so enormous that the wounds from it will not heal for years, a challenge compounded by the dozens abducted into Gaza. Judging by the way Netanyahu has managed Gaza in the last 13 years, it is not certain that there will be a clear policy going forward. Oh, the policy is kill them all, basically. That's what it is. And we'll talk about that in a second. But then we have the whole report here. This is a long-ass report. But basically, this happened 8 days ago, that he struck these military nuclear sites in Iran because Iran was this close to building a nuclear weapon. Which, if you recall history, the US government is the only one that's actually used nuclear bombs in a foreign country. Just keep that in mind. Just wanted to say, quick reminder of that.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm Margaret Brennan in Washington. We have breaking news out of the Middle East. President Trump is about to address the nation. Roughly 2 hours ago, he announced via social media that the United States has bombed 3 nuclear sites in Iran. CBS is reporting 6 B-2 stealth fighters dropped 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs on at least one of those sites, the very first time that weapon has been used in combat. Today, it was to destroy an underground nuclear facility about 60 miles southeast of Tehran. The president said that all American planes...
Oh, look, another interruption. It's because I've had these, like, ready.
Are safely now out of...
These videos have been ready since, like, 3, so that's why I'm having issues with the videos. So it's not really YouTube's fault. It's kind of my fault for leaving these as bookmarks. But it's for me to make this so much easier for me to put this in the show notes. So the reason I do that is so that I have everything where I can just copy and paste into a document and send that to myself. And then I take that from the email and I copy and paste that information into the show notes. So that's what I'm doing. Just know that I'm doing shit.
Of Iranian airspace. These American strikes are in support of a war that Israel launched on Iran 9 days ago. We know tonight that the Israeli Prime Minister has spoken to the president, thanked him, and congratulated him on the strikes. We are awaiting word now from the President of the United States himself, who is expected to address the nation from the White House.
Okay, by the way, let's go straight to that, because there's a video for that.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel
That is true.
has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States
Then comes marriage.
acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you.
It's going to keep happening. I apologize.
Thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America.
We really don't.
God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, just a short time ago. I want to go right back to the White House. Our chief White House correspondent, Peter Alexander, is...
That's great, Peter. Back to CBS.
As we await him taking the podium, I want to go to our White House correspondent, Weijia Jiang. Weijia, we know that the president returned to the White House in the 5 o'clock hour. Around 6 p.m., he had a national security briefing. What do we know about what was going on at that period of time?
That's right. He was in his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey, but came back
Of course he was.
this evening, which was actually always the plan.
Don't you love how they just hang out and play golf all the time, or just hang out in their big mansions and don't ever do any actual combat anymore. Don't you love that about modern presidents and prime ministers? I love it. I love it. Personally, I love that they get to like throw all the cannon fodder into wherever country they want to do some regime change. I love that they can do that at a moment's notice and without any congressional approval. Thanks, George Bush. And, you know, I just love that they can do whatever the fuck they want and we can't say shit or do anything about it. I just love that. And they never send their own family to die in wars, but they can send anyone else they want. I love that. And mostly poor people. Yes, of course. And then they leave them on the streets after they get blown up in various areas. Okay.
Plan, even when he took off for that trip, and right beforehand, he said that Iran had at maximum 2 weeks to try to reach a diplomatic deal. There was no indication at that time that he was going to follow through with the strikes, but of course that quickly changed.
We see the president now.
The U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise.
You know what's fun about this also is that he probably has no idea where those are. Like on a map. No idea.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight I can report to the
Israel. Sorry.
World that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani.
Hey, remember when he killed him extrajudicially? That was fun. And that sparked a campaign to try and kill him from Iran, allegedly. And he was like, wait, you can't do that. Remember when that happened? That happened. Crazy that happened, right? Or did that happen? We don't know. We don't know what's real and what's not. None of this is real, probably. Could be AI. This could not be in person. So who knows?
I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There's never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cut to.
Believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Yeah, so that happened. Let's get more of these updates here. So there's a little more information here from Times of Israel. Again, at your leisure, go read it if you want. Top-level cabinet meeting held amid U.S. pressure on Israel to reach a Gaza deal, alongside plans to expand Abraham Accords to Saudi Arabia, Syria, Dermer to meet with U.S. officials. So you can read more about this. I'll just scroll down and you can read it right now if you want. And I won't waste your time. Or mine. It is valuable. Bottom line, it's not looking good for the negotiations and everything. That part. That part, though. And then we got this one. Let Bibi go. He doubles down on the demand to end his corruption trial. So we went over that, but if you want an overview, this has more information. And I should have just read this. To be honest, I forgot it was right here. We will make the Middle East great again. Like, I can't. Yeah. So we have that information there. And then I wanted to read this one for you because it's interesting. The court agrees to cancel PM's testimony this week after briefing by security chiefs. This is from yesterday, June 29th. Pretty new. Jeremy Sharon. It says, heads of Mossad and IDF military intelligence tell judges why Netanyahu must be freed from hearings in coming days. His lawyer has cited key diplomatic national security issues. And by the way, I predicted this as well because I said this was all a pretense, not just the Iran thing, but like all of this stuff. Like he's just trying to get out of the trial and trying to distract again. Anytime there's something major going on, he wants to distract from the trial. Like the trial is ongoing forever, right? And he's trying to keep from having to... He didn't want all this information. I don't think that Trump was doing him a favor very much by spreading the information that this was going on, since a lot of people probably aren't even aware that he's been in a trial the last few years. But he has, and he's been escaping it in various ways, and this is proving that. This is proving my point that he doesn't want to continue the trial. Duh. So he wants to keep doing the war shit, and the Iran shit, and the, like, killing other people shit forever, but not with his own hands, because he doesn't have the guts to do that ever since the Yom Kippur War. But anyway, let's move on. The Jerusalem District Court on Sunday agreed to cancel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's scheduled days of testimony in his criminal trial for this week after Netanyahu, backed by the heads of IDF, not weird at all, military intelligence and Mossad, I'm sure they gave them a visit, appeared before the judges in a closed-door hearing to lay out the reasons the hearings must be put off. We will kill you if you don't do it. That's probably what happened. Allegedly. The court decided that the two hearings scheduled this week for Netanyahu's testimony will be canceled, but declined at this stage to cancel next week's hearings, as Netanyahu also requested, citing a lack of certainty regarding relevant developments, in quotation. The judges stated that they would consider a new request to cancel next week's hearings should one be submitted later. Netanyahu's lawyer, Amit Haddad, had submitted two requests on Friday to cancel the Prime Minister's testimony for the next 2 weeks due to diplomatic, national, and security issues of the First Order in the wake of the recent war with Iran, which ended with a ceasefire last week. allegedly. The judges rejected those requests, saying they had not been presented with a sufficient basis to justify them. On Sunday, however, Netanyahu went to the court himself, along with the top security officials, to explain why a delay was necessary, like the mob boss he is. The judges noted in their decision that IDF military intelligence head Major General Shlomi Binder and Mossad Director David Barnea were both present and gave explanations as to why Netanyahu needed to miss the scheduled court hearings on Monday and Wednesday. Shortly after the hearing ended, the judges announced the cancellation of this week's hearing due to the explanations that were given, which we don't hear, I guess, which included significant additions and changes compared to the basis presented for the previous decisions. The court asked Netanyahu's defense attorneys to make every effort to have another defense witness testify on Wednesday instead of the prime minister in order to cause as little delay as possible to the trial. According to the Khan public broadcaster, Barnea and Binder told the court that there is an opportunity to change the face of the Middle East and for Israel to expand its circle of peace. Where is the circle of peace? Is it in the room with us? I don't think it is, but anyway, including with Syria. The closed-door hearing lasted 10 minutes. Damn. Unnamed sources told the broadcaster, and we should just believe everything that they say because they're not named. Netanyahu is charged with fraud and breach of trust in 3 cases against him, as well as bribery in one of those cases, and I'm available for proofreading as usual. The trial began in 2020 and is expected to last at least into 2027, not including potential appeals. So there. What else do we have? That's it. That's fucking it. On that note, I will go to the current trial that is going on, which is a show trial, which is the Combs versus the U.S. vote versus Combs case. I gotta scroll down, but let's shout out Inner City Press doing their thing on Twitter. I love them. They're on the case. They're on several cases, so I have to scroll down. But here, let's get a look-see at the hold on. That wasn't what I thought it was. There's a lot happening with Trump today. What the fuck? I didn't know there was Trump shit happening. He's covering it all. He's covering all the SDNY stuff. Southern District of New York. So let's get back to this. Damn, he is busy. Oh, you know what? I'm on the wrong guy. I'm on the wrong page. Not the wrong page, but I'm on the wrong, they're not giving me the whole enchilada on there. So let me see if there's a way to go to his website. Shit. And maybe we can see something there. Here we go. Alright. Maybe he has like a good summary that we can use here. Let's go. Alright, here's the summary for today at 4:30 p.m. on September 16th. Oh, okay. He has a whole thing here. Inner City Press was told by its SDNY source to expect the big one, Sean Combs, the next day in an SDNY courtroom. On June 30th, the jury instruction was read, then deliberations began. A note emerged about Juror 25 not following instructions, then at today's end, a question about drug distribution. So there are several counts in this case from the prosecution. I wonder if this will let me go there. Let me try his Substack here. Oh, yes, thank you. Alright, so, okay. Here's what they are asking about here. Possession with intent to distribute simply means that a person possessed a controlled substance with a state of mind or purpose to transfer it to another person. Since no one can read another's mind, the determination as to a person's intent can be inferred from his or her behavior and any other facts and circumstances you find relevant to the question. If a person possessed drugs solely for his personal use rather than for the purpose of distributing them to anyone else, then the person did not intend to distribute the drugs. A small quantity of drugs standing alone is insufficient to prove intent to distribute, but any amount of drugs, however small, can support a finding that a person possessed narcotics with intent to distribute as long as there is additional evidence of intent to distribute. In this context, knowledge requires the government to prove that the person knew that he possessed narcotics and that his possession was not due to carelessness, negligence, or mistake. If you find that the person did not know that he had narcotics in his possession, or that he did not know that what he possessed was in fact narcotics, then you must find that there was no violation of federal narcotics law. Although the government must prove that the person knew that he possessed narcotics, the government does not have to prove that the person knew the exact nature. Okay, so basically that's what the question was about with the jury. Juries had some issues before. We've had juror number 6 being questioned in the robing room before and replaced eventually at the chagrin of the defense, being Sean Combs' team, who posited that the reason that they were being removed was because they were black and they needed another black juror really badly for some reason. So that was weird. There's been some witness tampering, all kinds of shit going on with Combs. Nothing mafioso like at all, though. It's nothing RICO related. Not at all. I do not believe the RICO. I do. But whatever. It's been a show trial. It's been similar to the Maxwell trial, which again had Maureen Comey as the prosecutor, which she is here as well. And it's been easier to understand because of people like Matthew Russell Lee, who has been following the case quite well and thoroughly with the transcription of what he hears in court. And it's just a shame that so much has happened that has, cast a shadow on all of the survivors of the abuse that was inflicted on them from Combs. And I know it wasn't just Combs, and I know Combs isn't the tippy top, and I know there's a blackmail campaign. We're not talking about it, but there's a blackmail campaign involved here, just as there was with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and they swept it under the rug, as I said they would. There's no mention of Kevin Hart at all in this trial, which is crazy because he was literally at a freak off, but okay, whatever. There's a lot that's unknown still, and that's why I say it's a show trial. I don't think it's totally illegitimate. I think there's things that are being hidden throughout it, and that is clear as day. I do think that he will still, this is my prediction, stay tuned for my prediction in the Sean Combs trial. I do believe that he will, here's the docket by the way, he will be found guilty on, I don't want to say 3 counts, but I'm feeling like maybe 3 counts. I don't know how many counts it will take, but I have a feeling, it's just a feeling, that oh yeah, and he was going to bring up Iran in his defense, and they're like, no, you can't do that. That's weird. And I'm glad they didn't let that happen. That would have been ridiculous. He's been wanting a mistrial this whole time. There's been shenanigans. Anyway, what I'm saying is, it's probably going to be 15 years. I'm saying it. I'm holding myself to that. If it ends up he gets acquitted, I will kind of be surprised because there's a lot in there. There's a lot. And yeah, there's a lot of gold digging too. I'm not saying there's no gold digging, but there's still sex trafficking, and there's still RICO. There's still all these things. So it can be it can be both things at the same time. And he can still be controlling. So anyway, yeah, that's how I feel about that. I think he's going to face 15 years. I don't know if he'll serve 15 years, but I don't see him getting more than, say, Maxwell did. Maxwell got 25 in a camp, clearly. Clearly. You don't know clearly, but like, she's literally in a camp in, I believe, Tallahassee, Florida right now. Just a cute little camp where she can make cupcakes and shit with all of her inmates. He's not going to have that same opportunity. But he might be able to still get shit done in prison. Like, he might even come out with an album in prison. Like, we don't know. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. We'll see. So, that's where we're at right now. I mean, I guess we have a couple more minutes. I'm doing really well on time. Yay. So let's do a biometric update and see what shenanigans is about afoot from the governments. Switzerland's preparing to introduce biometric ID cards. Yep. I expect as much. Let's see what else we got. Trump's mega bill expands biometric surveillance. What a shock. Are we shocked? I'm not shocked. I read some of it. I think I went over this. I did in the last episode. So go to the last episode and see what I said about the BBB, because you'll see why I don't like it there and how I predicted that nobody read it. And they didn't in the Congress. Nobody fucking read that shit. It's 940 pages. Anyway, I think it was 1,000 pages when I read it. I didn't read it. I read the summary, whatever. You know what I mean? Anyway, here we go. We'll read this, and this will be the end. Sadly. Let's sum it up, because we're not going to read the whole damn thing. So it says here, it goes back to the CBP. So under HR 1, CBP would gain broader authority to deploy facial recognition tools, we love those, at ports of entry and along transportation corridors, in line with DHS's 2024 strategic plan, which is very helpfully hyperlinked here, so you can click on that when you get on here. That envisions end-to-end biometric travel. That's their whole thing. We talked about this in the last episode. We're gonna hammer it into your brain that that's what they want. They don't want us to travel outside of our borders. We must stay in our country, or we must pay the consequences and be seen as a terrorist, basically, and have to give over our fingerprints and facial recognition and all that stuff. The plan states that DHS is aggressively pursuing innovative technologies for detection and strengthening identity verification for travelers within the United States through biometric and biographic techniques and technologies. While framed as anti-terror and anti-trafficking measures, critics, like me, argue these systems normalize mass biometric surveillance with minimal oversight. Of course. In addition to these biometric expansions, the bill's AI-related language introduces a 10-year moratorium on the enforcement of state and local biometric privacy laws. This preemption clause bars states from enforcing protections like Illinois' Biometric Information Privacy Act or similar consent and data use restrictions in California and Texas. The moratorium is tied to funding conditions, meaning states risk losing federal broadband and AI development funds unless they suspend their own biometric safeguards. That's concerning, no? Very concerning. You can read the next part at your leisure. Many existing laws already cover misuses of technology, and the moratorium does not affect enforcement of these consumer protection laws and criminal statutes when it comes to potentially harmful uses of AI, SIA argued. By adopting H.R. 1, Republicans believe they can preserve some consistency and predictability in the U.S. regulatory environment for the next decade. Its Republican backers claim the moratorium will encourage businesses to invest in innovation, ensure the U.S. remains a global technology leader, and it doesn't, and that AI-driven life safety and security technologies can be confidently adapted to address new threats. What if you're the threat? Anyway, the bill's biometric build-out, ooh, that's fun, is bolstered, so many B's, by there's another one, extensive financial incentives for staffing and expansion. ICE is authorized to hire 8,500 new agents, along with over 2,000 legal and support personnel. To secure these hires, the bill offers signing bonuses up to $20,000 and annual retention bonuses of $15,000 in high attrition areas. ICE agents will also qualify for law enforcement availability pay and premium overtime, further embedding biometric-enabled enforcement capacity into day-to-day field operations. Meanwhile, a 1% excise tax on cash-based remittance transfers is expected to generate over $1.5 billion annually, funds that may ultimately reinforce immigration enforcement activities. Though not biometric in nature, the remittance tax is emblematic of the financial and surveillance ecosystem the bill aims to expand. Despite its momentum, the bill remains in flux. Further amendments could alter biometric provisions before a final vote. You know, they have to read it first, like I said. They finally read it on the floor. They didn't read it, but somebody else was tasked with doing so, so that's fun. Though most observers do not believe that that is likely to happen. Whatever the Senate does end up passing, it will still need to be sent back to the House for reconsideration and passage. President Trump has said he wants a final bill on his desk to sign by July 4th. Girl, no. Whether he gets one by then remains to be seen, given the speed and scale of the bill's advancement. Biometric surveillance and data privacy landscapes across the U.S. may soon look dramatically different and be further centralized under federal authority, stripped of local safeguards, and deeply intertwined with AI-driven immigration enforcement. It's just the new security industrial complex. This ICE shit, the CBP, that's what it is. That's what it fucking is. I was going to look something up. Oh yes, let's do our monthly check of the U.S. debt clock. It's not going to be good news. I already know what it says, but let's look at it together. And yes, you saw my hotel. We're going to just forget that happened. I don't think you saw what I thought you saw. It's fine. 37 trillion. We did it! Yay! We finally got to 37 trillion, and we're increasing it now. And if this bill goes through, it'll be through the roof soon. So that's fun. Fuck Doge. Anyway, that's where we're leaving it, I guess. Thanks for listening and watching and all that jazz. And subscribe, like I said, and watch again. And like, and love, and live, and laugh, and all that jazz. Just, get out there. There's other things other than bloodshed and biometric state bullshit. And just don't comply as much as you can, I guess, is my same thing that I always say, but it's something that you should do. Stop complying. If you don't comply, they can't take away what you don't give. It's that simple. Don't give them anything at all. You give them an inch, they'll take a mile. That's how it goes. They'll take advantage of you. That's what they did during COVID. We're going to do a retrospective, by the way. I am going to edit something together of all of the episodes that we did about COVID and those days, the pandemic days. And we are going to put that out here, and it's going to be on YouTube and for posterity. And I can't wait to do that. I mean, I can, because I will. But, when I do that, it's going to be big. We're going to have fun with that. Maybe it'll be like 2 hours long. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be fun. And we'll see how that ends up going. So look out for that in the future, because I just announced it on the pod. So there you go. Again, watch the last episodes. They are very, I try my best to put them together. I'm on my own most of the time. I don't have any co-hosts anymore. I have to do everything myself. So just give me some loving. I need some loving, guys. Give me some loving. I'm about to post this shit right now. Right when I get out of here, I got to get right to it. I got to pee. I got to have some water because my throat. And then I'm getting right on here and I'm posting this shit. We are going to just see how this sounds. It's not great. But I'm going to try and fix the levels of the audio and hopefully it'll be good. And then that's all the editing I'm going to do. And I'll post it and you'll see it very soon from now. You don't know what time it is. I will tell you it's 8:36 and I went a little over, but that's okay. I don't give a shit because I'm still within the alarm. The alarm's going to go off at 8:40. You know what? I'm going to make it right before then. So I did a good job. I gave myself a little more time and we got through it. And we got on all the topics and even got to man-child. So I think that's a success. So yeah, see you next month. Love you guys. Bye.